Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a huge challenge for our planet, water scarcity. Specifically, we're looking at how modern agriculture is getting, well, smarter about watering, using some incredible tech to grow more food with way less water.
Okay, let's just start with a mind-blowing number. We're talking about saving anywhere from 50 to 80% of water compared to old-school methods. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a total game changer. It means we could potentially double the amount of food we grow using the exact same amount of water. That's huge.
So, how in the world do we pull that off? Well, the answer comes down to two main technologies, and they're kind of like rivals, each with a totally different game plan for watering crops. You've got one that's all about mimicking the rain, and another that gets up close and personal right at the root.
All right, let's get into it. First, we need to understand the challenge of smart watering. What's the problem we're actually trying to solve here?
It really boils down to this. The world needs more food, right? But at the same time, we've got less and less fresh water to go around. So traditional irrigation, which can be super wasteful, well, it's just not going to cut it anymore. Making every drop count isn't just a nice idea. It's absolutely critical for our future.
Okay, so let's look at our first contender, sprinklers, the overhead approach. You've probably seen these. The whole idea is to copy nature's best watering system. Good old rain.
So, the basic concept is pretty simple, right? You use a network of pressurized nozzles to spray water up and out, letting it fall over the crops like rain. It's all about getting wide, even coverage from above.
But, it's not just one type of sprinkler. There's a whole bunch of them. You've got your solid set systems that just stay in one place, and then there are those absolutely massive centered pivot systems. The giant arms that crawl in a circle and water those huge, perfect crop circles you see from an airplane.
Now, don't get me wrong, this is a huge leap forward from just flooding a field. We're talking efficiency in the 60 to 85% range. But there's a catch. Because you're throwing water into the air, some of it is always going to get lost. The wind can just carry it away, or it can evaporate on a hot day before it even hits the ground.
All right, now let's switch gears completely. Time for a totally different way of thinking. This is drip irrigation, the root-level solution. The question here is, what if you didn't water the soil, but watered the plant? Yeah, instead of spraying everything, this system uses these long tubes, or drip lines, that run right alongside the plants. And these lines have tiny little emitters that, well, they drip. They deliver a slow, steady trickle of water directly to the root zone of each and every plant. It's all about precision.
And just like with sprinklers, there are different flavors of drip. Some systems take it a step further and are actually buried underground. We're talking zero evaporation loss there. Others use these teeny tiny micro sprinklers that just miss the area right around the plant's base.
So, what's the payoff for all this precision? Well, check out this number. Up to 95% efficiency. That is just incredible. It means you're basically eliminating waste from wind and evaporation. For every 100 gallons of water you use, 95 of them are actually getting to the plant. That's hard to beat.
Okay, so we've got our two big contenders, the overhead sprinkler versus the root-level drip. Let's do a head-to-head comparison and see how they really stack up.
You can really boil it down to this simple idea. With a sprinkler system, you're essentially watering the air, hoping most of it gets to the ground. With a drip system, you're watering the plant directly. It's a classic battle, brute force coverage versus surgical precision.
And when you look at pure water use efficiency, well, the numbers don't lie. Drip is the clear winner here. On average, you're looking at around 90% efficiency, compared to maybe 78% for sprinklers. That's a huge difference in how much water is actually making it to the crop versus just disappearing.
But here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think the most efficient system would be the no-brainer choice, right? Well, not so fast. Look at the operating costs. Sprinklers can actually be cheaper to run year after year. So now the decision gets a lot tougher. It's not just about saving water, it's also about saving money.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway. There's no single best system for everyone. It all depends. What's your soil like? Is your land flat or hilly? What are you growing? For huge flat fields of corn or wheat, sprinklers might make perfect sense. But for high-value grapes on a steep hillside, drip is going to be your champion.
So, what's the catch with drip? What's its kryptonite? Well, it's this: clogging. Think about it. The very thing that makes it so precise, those tiny little holes, the emitters, is also its biggest weakness. Water isn't perfectly pure. It's got minerals and little bits of sediment in it. Over time, that stuff builds up and can completely block the emitter.
and a clogged emitter means a thirsty or even dead plant. So that's the matchup, but the story doesn't end there. The future is precise. Technology is now making both of these systems way, way smarter.
Okay, get this. There's something called variable rate irrigation, or VRI. This is a total game changer for sprinklers. It means that one of those giant pivot systems can be smart enough to know that one part of the field has sandy soil and needs more water, while another part has heavy clay and needs less. And it adjusts the water flow automatically as it moves across the field. That's just wild.
And it gets even crazier. When you start throwing in AI, soil sensors that give you real-time data and super accurate weather forecasts, well, these systems can practically predict the future. They can know exactly what a crop needs before the crop even knows it. And this can boost efficiency by another 92% on top of everything else. We're talking about next-level precision.
So, at the end of the day, what's the verdict? The truth is, there's no silver bullet. You can't just say, drip is always better, or sprinklers are the best. The right choice is a really complex puzzle, and you have to fit together all the pieces. The tech, the cost, the soil, the crop, the weather, all of it.
And that brings us to the big question, really. As water becomes, without a doubt, one of our most critical resources on the planet, which of these amazing innovations will truly shape the future of our food? Because it's becoming clear that the future of farming isn't just about what we grow, it's about how we grow it. And the answer to feeding our world might just come down to being smart about every single drop.